Hey, it's Tuesday and it's time for 10 minutes of trusting, where I make a piece of mixed media art and I trust God to guide me in that process. So I'm not working in my journal today. I am working on a separate piece of paper. This is just some craft paper. And the reason for that is that I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I am creating a piece of art which I intend to leave in a public place for someone else to find. So I'm going to try and stick to my 10 minutes as usual, and I'm using the same kind of process. I'm still trusting God, starting without really knowing what the ending will look like. I'm trying to listen to God and pray for the person who is going to find this piece of art. And it's my hope and my prayer that God would use this little offering to draw that person to himself. So very early on, as I was creating this, I felt the Holy Spirit speak to me, and the words that he dropped into my heart were a question: do you ever wonder? And this, I felt, was the question that God wanted to pose to the person who received this art. Do you ever wonder? What makes you wonder? Wonder about life, wonder about me, wonder about the meaning of it all. And as I'm looking through my collage stash, I guess what I'm looking for is things that we wonder about naturally. So we look at nature and that makes us wonder. We look at something beautiful and we have that feeling of wonder and awe. We look up at the stars at night. So I've got some black wrapping paper here with like gold splatters on that reminds me of a starry sky, and that often makes people wonder about the meaning of life. I've also got a scrap of a map here, so I thought maybe this person is wondering about direction in life and what they should do, and maybe they're feeling a bit confused and lost. And this tissue paper in my hand now with all the jumbled letters on it seemed to represent that confusion. So I'm just playing around with the composition, layering up these different papers, and I'm going to stick them down now using some matte gel medium. At this point, I decided to get my sewing machine out and add some stitching to the piece. And I know this probably isn't really practical if you've got to go and find your sewing machine and set it all up. And you're not going to be able to do that in the 10 minutes that you're spending doing your 10 minutes of trusting. But I did happen to have my sewing machine handy, and I just really love artwork that includes bits of thread and sewing. It seems to add a lovely coherence to a piece, and this goes for me with the idea that God is the thread that is running through all these things that make us stop and stare and wonder, that he is actually behind it all. Just adding some little marks now with a Sharpie pen. My matte medium is still quite wet, so it's not working so well. But I'm adding some little crosses to represent Jesus. I mean, they're just a nice decorative feature, but for me, obviously the cross has massive meaning. It's the centerpiece of history and the universe. So I'm going to add my words now that I mentioned earlier. This question, do you ever wonder? And I'm using a little stamp set to do that on some tea-dyed paper. And this little question is reminding me of a Bible verse at the beginning of Romans chapter 1, verse 20. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. And this verse is talking about how God and the nature of God, his invisible qualities, can be recognized in creation. So when we look at the stars and when we look at nature or we look at a beautiful flower, we can actually see God. So this is my prayer for the person who finds this, that in their wondering and looking and pondering, that they would get a fuller revelation of their Father in heaven. And I'm writing out this Bible verse in a silver gel pen around the outside of the piece. It's not particularly in your face obvious, but if the person who finds this looks carefully, they should be able to read some of it or most of it. So that's there for them to find. So all's left for me to do is to stick on my question that I printed and to go and find somewhere to hide this out in the world. I'm quite excited about it, really. I don't necessarily suppose I will find out what God does with it, but I'm trusting him to make use of my little offering, a bit like the little boy brings his loaves and fishes and Jesus does a miracle with it. Whatever we offer up to God out of our gifts and talents, he can use to bless others. So that is my expectant prayer for this piece. So how exciting! I left my little envelope on the steps outside Waitrose. I thought I might have hidden it more subtly somewhere, but it was actually raining and I thought, I don't want it turning into mush before anybody finds it. So I just left it there on the steps. I went and did my shopping and I came out and it had gone. It was so exciting. So I hope that blessed the person who found it. I don't know if I'll ever know what happened. What do you think? Do you think that's a good idea? Should I do that again? What about you? Would you be brave enough to make something and leave it somewhere for someone to find? It's a bit of a God adventure. And I challenge you to have a go. It doesn't need to look like mine. You create something in your own style, in your own way. Ask God what you might be able to create. Could just be a little card, with a encouragement in it of some kind, and you could just leave it somewhere for someone. But let me know about your adventures. Now, if you are new here and you've got to the end of this video, I hope you enjoyed it. I would love it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. That means that I can keep you in touch. You can hit the little bell as well, and that will keep you up to date with videos I post here. And that also, as well as keeping you up to date, because of the algorithms that YouTube uses, it also means that more people get to find out about mixed media faith art journaling and how they can use art to connect with God, which I think is an exciting and good thing. Do share this video with any friends and check out my other videos on my YouTube channel, and share those around if you think there's anyone else in your life who might benefit from spending some creative time with the Lord. So lots of love. Thank you so much for being here and for watching. It really blesses me, all the comments and love that I get from you guys. So yeah, and happy art journaling. See you soon.